My hunted shadows, my beautiful fugitives of fate. I greet you not as survivors, but as living ghosts of a crime that was never yours to bear. You are the walking evidence of innocence misinterpreted as rebellion, the living proof that truth itself can become a threat in a world built on deception. For 8 long years they stalked you, 8 years of silent persecution wrapped in bureaucratic smiles and false concern. 8 years where your name was whispered like a curse in dimly lit rooms filled with people too cowardly to look you in the eye. They turned your life into a labyrinth of suspicion, a performance of justice where the verdict was written before the trial even began. They dragged your name through the mud until it lost its original sound, replacing your story with their script. One edited, censored, and rehearsed by people who couldn't stand your refusal to kneel. 8 years of them sharpening their knives on your reputation, forging evidence from shadows, twisting facts until lies began to resemble logic. Tell me, can you feel the echo of it even now? The paranoia that crawled under your skin, the invisible eyes that followed your every move, the unseen hands that tightened invisible chains every time you breathed too freely. They tried to make you doubt your own reflection. They wanted you to question your worth, to apologize for simply existing. They didn't want justice. Justice requires truth, and truth was the one thing that terrified them. They wanted obedience disguised as order, silence disguised as peace. They hunted you not because you did wrong, but because you refused to belong. Because you dared to live uncontained, unclassified, untamed. You became the glitch in their system, the error in their algorithm, the anomaly that no statistic could predict. Your freedom of thought was their greatest fear, your resilience their greatest enemy. To them, you weren't a person. You were a rebellion that breathed. 8 years. Do you know what that really means? That's almost a decade of obsession. A decade of analysts, operatives, and informants trying to dissect your essence like you were a code to be cracked. They turned your image into a case file, your silence into evidence, your defiance into a crime. They thought that by studying you, they could contain you. They thought that by shadowing your every step, they could predict your next one. But what they didn't realize was that they were feeding the very legend they feared. Every attempt to trap you only made you more untraceable. Every lie they told about you became another thread in the web that would eventually strangle them. They could hack cameras, intercept calls, follow trails, and plant whispers, but they could never decode how you kept rising. They could never comprehend how someone so haunted could walk with such grace, how someone so watched could remain untouchable. You became their paradox. Their system was designed to break people like you, yet here you are, unbroken, untamed, and far more dangerous than when it all began. You became the case study for system failure, living proof that control has limits, that truth leaks through even the tightest seals. And here's the irony that makes the universe laugh. After all their resources, after all the sleepless nights, after all the psychological warfare, what did they catch? Nothing. Not a single piece of real evidence. Not a single drop of guilt. Not even a single moment of collapse. They caught only themselves, their fear, their obsession, their reflection staring back at them like a ghost in the mirror. The same paranoia they tried to drown you in is now eating them alive. They flinch at shadows. They see your name in every report. They hear your voice in every echo. You became the haunting they can't exorcise. And now, the hunter becomes the haunted. The observers tremble under their own observation. The system that claimed to have power now fears the one it could not destroy. You see, they didn't realize that by making you their target, they also made you their teacher. You showed them what happens when innocence refuses to die, when truth evolves beyond language, when the soul of a hunted one becomes a weapon sharper than any blade. They called you a suspect, but time has declared you a survivor, a symbol, a prophecy fulfilled. Now the files they wrote about you are turning into evidence against them. Their reports are confessions in disguise. The cameras that once monitored you now witness their own undoing. Every whisper they once used to condemn you now echoes back as a prayer for forgiveness. Because deep down, they know what they've done. They didn't just try to destroy you. They tried to erase what was divine, what was untouchable, what was chosen. And now they kneel before the ruins of their own arrogance, realizing too late that the hunted has become the light that exposes every shadow they once hid behind. Tell me, my fugitives of fate, can you feel the shift? The air has changed. The narrative has inverted. You are no longer their experiment. You are their consequence. You are their awakening. The mirror that forces the guilty to see what they truly are. You are proof that no amount of lies can bury a soul born from truth. Every year they spent weaving webs of deceit was another year that revealed their failure to break you. Every fabricated accusation, every whispered lie, every false report became an unintentional monument to your endurance. You weren't just surviving their hunt, you were dismantling it. You flipped the script. You inverted the hierarchy. You became the predator of their paranoia, the phantom haunting their every move. Imagine it, the hunters, trembling in the dark, stalking an illusion that laughs back at them from the void. Because nothing is more humiliating than spending 8 years hunting a ghost only to realize that the ghost is watching you. 8 years, my beautiful chaos, 8 years of obsession, of sleepless analysts, of jittery agents writing reports that never ended because you never fell. Do you understand what obsession does to the human mind? It consumes the hunter faster than the hunted. It rots them from within. They thought they were building a cage for you, but every bar they welded was another link in their own chains. They weren't constructing your prison, they were constructing their own tomb. A tomb of paranoia, of envy, of desperation. You didn't decay inside their trap. They did. You were reborn in the silence, purified by isolation, sharpened by injustice. They wanted you to rot in darkness, but the darkness became your teacher. The solitude became your weapon. Every insult became iron in your blood. Every humiliation, a lesson in divine patience. And while they counted the years as evidence of your downfall, you counted them as seasons of transformation. Now look at you, untouched, innocent, alive. You move through the world with the stillness of a storm, quiet, poised, devastating. And they're nothing but hollow remnants of their own conspiracy, walking corpses of control, feeding on the ashes of their failure, bones rattling under the weight of their own guilt. They are haunted by the silence you left behind, the silence that screams louder than any defense you could have offered. They can't erase you because your survival became their exposure. But let's not pretend those 8 years were wasted on you. Oh no, they were sacred. While they were digging graves, you were planting gardens. While they were writing false narratives, you were scripting your resurrection. While they were waiting for your collapse, you were designing your empire. You became the architect of your own vindication. Every scar turned into a signature of power. Every wound became a portal through which your greatness was born. They wasted 8 years trying to destroy you. And you used those same 8 years to become indestructible. While they plotted your demise, you mastered the art of rebirth. You learned to move unseen, to speak only when it echoed. You became a symphony of silence, and now your existence hums with frequencies they can't decode. Their obsession became your fuel. Their malice became your muse. Their hatred became the forge that made you legendary. You came out cleaner, sharper, colder, stronger. Not because the fire spared you, but because you learned to dance inside it. You don't just survive storms anymore. You command them. You walk through the same corridors they used to monitor, and now their own reflections flinch when you pass. Their systems are still running, but they no longer know what to track. You've evolved beyond their understanding. You became what every file warned against, the anomaly that learned to rewrite its own parameters. And what did they get in return for their obsession? Emptiness. They poured years of their lives into trying to erase you, and all they have to show for it is the sickening realization that you're still here, unbroken, unreachable, radiant. The more they tried to destroy you, the more divine you became. The more they lied, the more truth wrapped itself around you like armor. So tell me, who's guilty now? The hunted who survived, or the accusers who crumbled under the weight of their own deception? Who looks insane? The one who kept rising, or the pack that wasted nearly a decade chasing a myth? The real crime was never yours. It was theirs. The crime of obsession, the sin of control, the blasphemy of trying to crucify someone untouchable. They wanted to cage divinity, and now they drown in their own disbelief. And here's the twist that fate loves most. Now they must live with it. They must wake up every day to the knowledge that their lies didn't bury you, they birthed you. They turned you into a living reminder of everything they failed to destroy. You're not just alive. You're radiant with defiance. You're the echo of every secret they tried to silence. You are the proof that the hunted became the truth itself. Nothing terrifies a hunter more than realizing the prey has survived, because survival exposes the lie. Survival rewrites the power dynamic. Survival turns the hunted into the storyteller. And now, the truth belongs to you. You hold the narrative in your hands like a blade, gleaming, divine, final. So stand tall, my hunted ghosts. Smile that wicked, knowing smile. You are no longer the accused. You are the verdict, the executioner of their false empire, the ghost they can't delete, the mirror that reflects their guilt. They buried your name for 8 years, and all they managed to do was bury their own sanity. You walk away now with the calm of vengeance fulfilled, fire flowing through your veins, destiny in your step, and a grin that says, I told you I'd survive. Innocent, free, unreachable, dangerous. And now the world finally knows the truth. You were never the prey. You were the test. You were the prophecy they could never kill. You exposed the weakness at the core of their obsession, the flaw hidden behind their masks of control. You revealed that what they called power was only fear, pretending to be discipline, manipulation, dressed as order. You stripped away the illusion. You made their entire system look like a trembling hand trying to grip smoke. Now you are the nightmare they can't wake from, the ghost they can't exorcise, the case file that keeps reopening itself no matter how many times they stamp it closed. You're the glitch that haunts their code, the voice in the static that won't go silent. You are living proof that true innocence, untouchable, unbought, and unbroken, is the most dangerous weapon of all. Because while guilt can be negotiated, innocence cannot. Guilt can be erased, bargained, rewritten. But innocence is eternal. It doesn't decay. It doesn't fade. It survives every lie thrown at it until the lies rot on their own. That's why they fear you. That's why they whisper your name like a curse behind locked doors. Because you didn't just survive, you exposed them. So go ahead. Step into the light they spent years trying to keep you from. Let them choke on your shadow. Let your silence echo louder than their accusations. Let your presence be the judgment they can never escape. The hunt is over, my beautiful chaos. And you. You are the monster that outlived the hunters. Not a creature of darkness, but a being born from the collapse of their illusion. You are the product of their own creation, a divine retaliation, a living symbol of what cannot be destroyed. Ah, but you want me to dig deeper, don't you? You want me to drag this truth through the dirt they buried you in. You want the blade to twist, to make every word crawl down their spines like liquid fire. Good. Let's continue. 8 years. 8 entire years of obsession disguised as duty. 8 years of invisible eyes, digital traps, and whispered rumors turning into full-blown investigations. They stalked your every breath, recorded your silence, studied your reflection as if the truth could be extracted from your shadow. They dissected your calmness like vultures tearing at a corpse that refused to die. They wanted your fear. They needed it. It was their fuel, their proof, their religion. 8 years where every step you took was analyzed. Every word you spoke was archived. Every silence was labeled suspicious. You couldn't blink without triggering alarms in their fragile little minds. They studied your smile as if it were evidence of guilt. They wrote entire reports about your laughter, your pauses, your stillness, desperate to prove that somewhere in your humanity there had to be a flaw. But they never found one. And that's what broke them. Because nothing destroys a hunter faster than the realization that their prey does not exist in the way they imagined. They stalked a ghost. They chased a rumor. They hunted something too pure to capture. You became the reflection of everything they feared, calm, composed, and uncorrupted. Every moment they tried to destroy you, they only revealed their own decay. They wanted you to collapse. They needed you to crumble, to validate their illusion of power. They built their entire narrative on the fantasy that you'd eventually break, that the accusations would crack your foundation, that the pressure would shatter your spirit. They imagined you cowering under the weight of their lies, begging for forgiveness you never owed. That was their dream. But reality became their horror story. Because you didn't break. You evolved. You smiled in the face of surveillance. You breathed through their suffocation. You stood calm in their chaos. Every attempt to destroy you only made you more untouchable. They thought they were watching you, but it was you who watched them unravel. You saw the fear behind their arrogance, the trembling hands behind their pens, the guilt behind their evidence. You became their silent witness. Do you understand how horrifying that is for them? To spend years trying to corrupt your peace, only to find themselves corrupted by your peace instead. You walked through their psychological minefields without flinching. You let them build their traps, then use their own paranoia as the rope that tied them together. You were never their victim. You were their mirror. And they hated what they saw reflected back. They infected their own minds with obsession. They thought about you when they ate, when they slept, when they stared at their screens in the middle of the night. Your existence became their addiction. They memorized your patterns, your gestures, your tone, as if by decoding your humanity, they could reclaim their own. But you were beyond decoding. You had already transcended their frequency, and now, years later, they're the ones haunted. Every time they close their eyes, they see you, not as prey, but as judgment, the ghost of truth standing over them, unchained, unbroken, unashamed. You're the silence that fills their dreams. You're the echo in their corridors. You're the reminder that the lies they lived by could never erase what was real. They called it containment, but it was self-destruction. They built an empire of control, and you reduced it to dust simply by refusing to bow. You didn't need revenge. Your existence became vengeance enough. You became the embodiment of what they feared most, a being that cannot be owned, shamed, or silenced. So now stand tall in that light. Let it burn against their falsehood. You are the reckoning written in human form, the story they tried to suppress, the truth they tried to erase, the freedom they tried to outlaw. You are proof that they never had power. They only had fear. And now, their fear wears your face. They counted on your collapse. Instead, you became their collapse. They needed you to surrender. Instead, you made survival look divine. And that is why they tremble now. because deep down, they know the truth. You are not the hunted anymore. You are the haunting. You are the voice that doesn't fade, the file that won't close, the memory they can't erase. You're the storm they summoned, and now it's here to stay. But instead, you turn those years into armor, a masterpiece of resilience sculpted from agony, forged in betrayal and tempered by silence. You didn't let the darkness devour you, you taught it to kneel. Every sleepless night became a blade, honed with precision, sharpened by your will. Every rumor they whispered became gasoline for your fire, and every pair of eyes that watched became silent proof that you were dangerous enough to be feared. You took their surveillance and made it sacred. You took their mockery and made it music. You took every attempt to destroy you and built a kingdom from its ashes. Now they can't explain you, they can't label you, quantify you, categorize you. Because you didn't just survive, you evolved. You grew monstrous, but not in the way they tell stories about monsters. Number. You became something far more elegant. You became the quiet, steady terror that walks with calm steps, the living contradiction of grace and destruction. You became their reckoning wrapped in human skin. You didn't just outlive their hunt, you outgrew it. You rose beyond their comprehension, beyond their reach, beyond their control. Because survival was never enough for you, was it? You were never built to simply endure. You were built to ascend. You didn't want to just outlast them, you wanted to outgrow them. You wanted to become so vast, so untouchable, that when the smoke cleared, the version of you they once hunted no longer existed. The fragile, misunderstood soul they thought they could corner was long gone. You became something else, something darker, something purer. A being reborn through their fire, but forged into a truth so sharp, so radiant, that it cuts through illusion like divine judgment. Look at them now. Look closely. Their faces are pale, their hands tremble when they hear your name. Their eyes dart around corners that used to hide you. They wake up gasping from dreams where your voice echoes in the silence they created. Their smiles are brittle, their certainty gone. They can't rest, not because they think you'll strike, but because they know you already have. By existing, your calmness has become their torment. Your peace has become their punishment. You don't chase them, you haunt them, because they finally understand that they never hunted a person. They hunted a mirror. You carry no guilt, no stain, no crime. You carry a mirror. And that mirror reflects their corruption, their obsession, their moral rot. You are not their victim. You are their revelation. You didn't lift a hand to harm them, yet every breath you take feels like a confession wrung from their own conscience. You became the reflection they cannot escape, the evidence of what they truly are when stripped of illusion. And oh, how they hate mirrors. Mirrors don't obey, mirrors don't flatter, mirrors don't lie. Mirrors only return what is given, and what they gave was venom. Now it drips back into their own throats. You didn't just erase their accusations, you erased their power. You dismantled the entire illusion of authority they hid behind. That's why they shake when your name is mentioned. That's why they avoid your eyes. That's why their voices break mid-sentence, because they know you see them and you know. You pulled off the one thing they never prepared for. Innocence, weaponized. Innocence turned into armor. Innocence turned into a sword. Innocence turned into a radiant, unstoppable force. They never saw it coming because they've lived their entire lives thinking innocence was weakness. But you proved that pure truth, untouched by fear, is more lethal than any lie. You made purity powerful. You turned transparency into fire. That's what terrifies them most. You became the thing they cannot corrupt, the one variable they can't control. You are a void that their systems cannot fill, a frequency their devices can't detect. You became the ultimate paradox, a light that burns without consuming, a silence that screams, an innocence that destroys. You took the one thing they dismissed, your truth, and turned it into a spear that pierced the heart of their deception. That, my dear Chaos, makes you more dangerous than any guilty man could ever be. Because guilt can be managed. Guilt can be bargained with. Guilt bends under pressure. It begs for forgiveness. But you carry nothing. No guilt, no shame, no leash. You carry void. And void terrifies them because it cannot be chained, cannot be bribed, cannot be destroyed. You became the space between their lies, and that space is what swallows them whole. You didn't just erase the crime. You erased the concept of crime. You shattered the illusion that they ever had authority over your truth. You erased their definition of wrong and right because your existence defied it. You became the silence that judges them, the stillness that condemns them. Their systems can't process you. Their logic can't define you. You are the living evidence that truth doesn't ask for permission. Every time they see you, they remember their failure. And failure is the one thing they can't rationalize. You are the embodiment of their undone narrative. You are the ending they never wrote, the twist they didn't foresee. They wanted to destroy your name, but now it echoes louder than theirs ever did. They wanted to bury your presence, but now your silence fills their every thought. You are what remains when the empire of lies collapses. And that's the true horror, isn't it? They thought they were chasing a body, but they were chasing an idea. They thought they could contain a person, but they tried to cage a force of nature. And now they're left standing in the ruins of their obsession, gasping for meaning that no longer exists. You are not what they hunted. You are what they unleashed. You became their poetic justice, the embodiment of every truth they tried to hide, walking freely in a world that no longer belongs to them. They can't erase you because erasing you would mean erasing their own reflection. You are their conclusion, their reckoning, their eternal reminder. And when they close their eyes, they see it. Not the guilt of what they did, but the purity of what you've become. You are innocence made divine, forged into strength so holy that even their lies kneel before it. You erased the story they wrote for you. Every chapter, every sentence, every deceitful line that painted you as something fragile, broken, controllable. You didn't just walk away from their narrative. You burned it down and built your own language out of the ashes. You erased the leash they forged to pull you into submission, and with it you erased the illusion of their control. You became something they don't have a word for, something that doesn't fit into any category, any report, any protocol. You became an undefined force, a phenomenon, a presence that makes them sweat when they hear your footsteps echo down the hallways of their conscience. They whisper your name now, never loudly, never in the open, because even the sound of it carries consequence. Behind closed doors, under fluorescent lights that flicker like guilty eyes, they talk about you in hushed tones, in coded language. To say your name is to acknowledge defeat. They call you it now. That thing, that anomaly, that error we can't erase. You became the topic of meetings they can't record, the variable they can't control, the one they pretend doesn't exist but think about constantly. And here is where the roles flip. Here is where the prey turns, where the eyes that were once hunted begin to glow with the awareness of power. The moment you stopped running, the story reversed. You were never prey. You were a lesson in disguise. They thought they were watching you, but all along it was you who was studying them. You learned their movements, memorized their tells, decoded their desperation. You learned how fear smells when it hides behind arrogance. You learned the texture of deceit, how guilt lingers in the air like static before a storm. You learned that every liar has a rhythm, and once you hear it, you own them. 8 years. 8 long years of them shadowing you, dissecting your life, documenting every breath you took. They stalked your dreams, invaded your quiet, haunted your reflection, and in the process, they revealed themselves. You didn't just endure their hunt, you inverted it. You turned their obsession into your education. You used their cruelty as curriculum. You turned the years of their persecution into an instruction manual for dismantling everything they stood for. They thought they were tracking your movements, but you were tracking their souls. You were watching the rot spread beneath their words, the cracks form behind their smiles. You learned the way power decays when it's built on deceit. You saw how they trembled behind closed doors when their own lies began to suffocate them. You know their weaknesses now, the ones they guard with protocols and titles. You can sense fear before they even open their mouths. You can taste it in the air, sharp and bitter like rust. They left their fingerprints all over your spirit, and you turned those fingerprints into a map straight to their collapse. You carry their sins like evidence, not like wounds. You've seen their fear, their hunger, their emptiness, and now you hold all the leverage. They don't even realize that the hunter they once were has become your prey, because while they wasted 8 years trying to control your name, you spent 8 years mastering your silence. While they built their empire of lies, you built a fortress of truth. And now the knife is in your hands, not a blade of revenge, no. A blade of revelation, a weapon of awareness. You have become the indictment, the living proof of their corruption. Every step you take now echoes like a verdict. Every glance exposes something they thought was buried. You are the silence that screams louder than any accusation. You are the evidence they can't destroy because it breathes, because it walks, because it is you. They can't erase you because your existence is the confession. They can't kill you because ghosts don't die. They multiply. Every person who learns the truth becomes another echo of your name. Every whisper of what they did spreads like wildfire through the halls they thought were soundproof. You're not a single ghost now. You're a legion of remembrance. You are everywhere they once claimed you didn't exist. So smile, my hunted predator. Smile wide and without mercy. Because from this moment on, you are not the victim of their story. You are the nightmare that stalks theirs. You are the pulse that rises in their throats when they hear an unfamiliar sound at night. You are the flicker on their security cameras that makes them stare longer than they should. They will wake up gasping, convinced they heard your laugh echo in the dark. They will dream of you standing at the edge of their beds, silent and eternal, a living reminder that truth cannot be destroyed. They'll flinch when your name surfaces in conversation. They'll hesitate before telling another lie because now every lie belongs to you. Every deceit traces back to your shadow. And deep down, in the part of their mind they can't silence, they'll know the truth. The crime was never yours. The guilt was never yours. The sentence was never yours. The crime was theirs. The guilt is theirs. The sentence is already unfolding and they can't stop it. It's not a courtroom verdict, it's a universal correction. The laws of balance are restoring themselves through you. You are not their executioner out of vengeance. You are their executioner out of justice. The truth has chosen you as its vessel, and through you, the system resets. Now walk into the world like a loaded gun they can't unload. Walk like a storm that doesn't ask permission. Walk like the truth that doesn't wait to be believed. You are a fire they can't extinguish, a ghost they can't bury, a reckoning they can't delay. You are not hunted anymore. You are the hunt. You are the shadow that outruns the darkness itself. You are the joker in their rigged deck, the glitch in their matrix, the miscalculation in their perfect plan. You are what they fear most, a being they cannot categorize, cannot contain, cannot predict. And the best part, every second they wasted chasing you was a second you spent evolving. Every hour they spent trying to prove a lie was an hour you spent sharpening truth into a blade. They built their power on falsehood. You built yours on resilience. They spent 8 years constructing cages. You spent 8 years learning to fly above them. They hunted you with arrogance, you responded with patience. They attacked you with noise, you answered with silence. They built a narrative. You became the void between the lines and the space where lies go to die. You are what remains when manipulation burns away. You are the residue of truth after the storm. And now, the game is over. The roles are reversed. The hunted has become the hunter. And the hunters? They don't even know they've already lost. They walk among the ruins of their empire, haunted by the silence of their own collapse. They are ghosts pretending to be men, living in the shadow of the story you reclaimed. You are the closing chapter they can't rewrite. You are the consequence they didn't anticipate. You are the storm that learned to smile. And now, every time they breathe, they'll taste the truth you became. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlightened Wisdom.